All right, let's jump in. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for our panel discussion featuring current students at Presidio Graduate School and some of my amazing friends in the program. For those of you that I have not yet had the privilege of connecting with, my name is Callie Green. I always say it is a great name for a California-based environmentalist. And I am a current dual degree MBA, MPA in Sustainable Solutions candidate here at Presidio. I also work part-time on our admissions team, so please feel free to reach out to me at any point. I'm always happy to answer any questions that you have about our program, student life, or the application process. And I personally can say that I am extremely grateful that I made the decision to come to PGS. It has been truly one of the biggest blessings in my life, in large part because of these beautiful people that are on your screen today. Just the joy that comes from being part of a close-knit community, to the opportunities for career advancement provided by our student resources and the Presidio network have all played such a huge role in my life. So I'm really happy and grateful to be joined today by a few of my incredible peers, so we can provide more insight into what makes our program unique and give you an opportunity to hear directly from our students about their experiences. So we'll begin with a panel discussion, and then we'll open it up for Q&A at the end. So for Q&A, you can use the raise hand function if you'd like to hop on and talk to our panelists directly, or you can use the Q&A function. But if anything comes up throughout the event, feel free to just pop your questions in that Q&A chat, and I'll do my best to respond as we go along. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Hello, beautiful panelists. Could you each introduce yourselves by sharing your program and previous professional role before coming to Presidio, as well as your current role and or involvement at PGS?
Yeah, I can start. Hi, my name is Genevieve Resnick. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm based out of Oakland. I am also a current dual degree student here at PGS. And before this, I was a program manager for a nonprofit in the voluntary carbon market space. And before that, I was working in energy efficiency and affordable housing for PG&E. And now, in addition to just being a student at PGS, I co-manage our outdoors club and sit on the transition task force to represent the student voice amidst our Redlands merger.
Everyone, I'm Megan. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm based in LA. And I'm in the dual degree program, so I'm pursuing my MBA and MPA. And I always say that I've had a non-linear path to before coming to Presidio. I worked as a baker for a number of years. I also led bike tours all around the country. And right before joining Presidio, I was working for a nonprofit in LA that produced open street events. And I'm currently now working as a project manager for a nonprofit called Project Equity. And at PGS, I've been a student rep. I TA'd a course, and I think my most exciting PGS roles has been planning our end of the semester tradition dance off, which I'm sure will come up.
I hope so.
I'll jump in. My name is Steph Mata, she, her. I was in cohort 34. I earned an MBA. I just finished my last class, so I'm graduating in a couple weeks. I live in New York. Before coming to Presidio, I earned a BFA in film production, and I was a scenic artist in the film and television industry, where I created sets and scenery for 10 years. I wanted to shift into sustainability field for a while, and then I think the trigger was when COVID locked everything down. I really looked into getting another degree. Since being at Presidio, I have also been a student rep, also active in the community building and events planning, such as with Dance Off, which has been really fun. I've also been a teaching assistant for data analytics, which I've done for 2 years and will continue to do as long as I can. I really love that course. And I am currently working as a sustainable strategist and data analyst for an impact investing firm, currently on a contract position. So I'm applying to a full-time role at that firm and other firms, as well as exploring some sustainable consulting roles as well.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Dimitri Fierro, he, him, his. Cohort C35. So I started, roughly about 2 years ago to the day. I am from Los Angeles, but I'm currently based right now in beautiful Minneapolis, Minnesota, here for a conference. My involvement with Presidio has been pretty much really well-rounded. I've been able to be the consultancy shadowing program manager with PGS Consults, which is a boutique sustainability management consulting firm. I've had the pleasure actually to work with some of the people on this panel on projects, which has been really exciting. Also be a sustainability management consultant myself. I have been able to really enjoy being able to dive in different projects. My career path has been kind of like what Megan had mentioned already, not so much linear, kind of trying on different hats. Before coming to Presidio, I actually worked as a campaign coordinator for the Sierra Club for a little over a year, which actually was partly thanks to COVID. Would start off as volunteering, then eventually turned to a paid role, which was actually a blessing in disguise. And currently, I am still the program manager, or now I say was, because I just recently graduated and will be attending commencement soon. But was working as a program manager with PGS Consults. I'm also a contributor for an LA-based nonprofit that focuses on how to drive sustainability solutions within entertainment and media, known as the Environmental Media Association. And been really happy to be part of all this great stuff that's been going on, and happy to be here with everyone else today.
Thank you all. Amazing introductions. I am always just so inspired and impressed by the people that I am surrounded by in this program. So for my next question, what inspired you to choose Presidio? And can you speak to your future plans and how you see your education and the resources at Presidio helping you to achieve your personal and professional goals?
I can kick us off. So as I mentioned, I worked in food service before coming to, or in the past. And I sort of was very surprised at working in that industry and how it very much didn't value the workers. And so I wanted to explore ways to sort of improve the workplace specifically for service workers. And so I knew I wanted to get my MBA, but I didn't want any old MBA because it would probably just teach me how to replicate the same business models that was making work not work for so many people. So I started looking at different social justice oriented schools, and Presidio was on my list, and I talked to a lot of alumni just by searching on LinkedIn. I went onto our alumni LinkedIn page and typed in keywords of interest and reached out to people, and everyone was really excited to talk and give their honest opinion of Presidio. And through those conversations, I was excited to see that within the broad definition of sustainability, there was a focus on people and on social justice within the Presidio curriculum. And so that's what led me to Presidio. And then once I was there, I actually stayed in contact with one of the alumni that I had reached out to during my research phase, trying to decide where I was going to go. And now I work for her. I have a contract role also similar to Steph, so it's not forever, but through that connection, I've made invaluable connections to the industry that I want to work in, and now feel ready to sort of dive into that job search, knowing that I have this work experience under my belt.
Yeah, happy to add to what Megan was saying right now too, that I actually knew about Presidio back when I was in college. So I did my undergrad at UC Irvine in Orange County, so living near the beach. And I already knew early on that I really wanted to go to graduate school. And similar to what Megan said, I just really want to find a program that really aligned with my values and that I could think was values driven inside and out. I didn't want to just do something that was going to replicate the same thing or what's been done before. And whenever I came to Presidio and thought about it or looked it up, it always seemed like it was really walking the walk of what it was saying. And so I got even more interested. And of course, especially during COVID, I knew I wanted to go to graduate school, and I was really narrowing it down. And people I spoke to kept saying, if you really want to change business, use it as a force for good, understand the language, but also, be encouraged to be a disruptor in the sense that changing the way things have been done up until now in the status quo. And so when I thought about Presidio again, it just kept coming back to my mind. And I thought, now's the better time to do it. And I was able to connect with people that were alumni, and they all were saying the same thing. So I knew there was something really exciting here. And so I started in 2021, and I spoke to people that were alumni as well as other current students, kind of what we're doing right now. And it just felt right for me. And definitely being able throughout my process and program here, been really able to connect with people that have already graduated and also in the program like myself, and being able to see what they're up to. So I'm actually, as I mentioned, here in Minneapolis for a conference that an alumni works for and help coordinate. So me and her connected. She went to Presidio 5 years back or so, and she said, "I would love to have you come out and work as a content writer." And I said, "I'd love to do that." So it was all expenses paid, and I'm not complaining about that. So definitely the networking community is here. People really do care about each other, and they really want to see the best of everyone. So I've definitely seen that since day one.
Very true.
I'll jump in. So what inspired me to come to Presidio? I found Presidio, likewise, like searching the internet, looking for the best degrees to get into the sustainability career since I was not in it previously. I looked into getting masters. I even applied and got into other schools. But ultimately, I felt like getting a business degree was the best choice because I figured I would learn how to make an impact in an area where impact is really difficult to make, which is in the business world, especially the corporate world. I also attended panels. I sat in on a couple courses that blew me away. I was so excited after I sat in on a couple classes. That was fantastic to see. I also spoke with alumni who were very generous with their time and very honest about the program. And they just seemed like they were full of enthusiasm and integrity. I even had an alumni say to me, if you go to this school, let me know, because I still live in SF and I want to stay a part of the community. So let me know what you guys are all doing, So it's just a really wide-reaching community that appreciates each other. And it's been 2.5 years since I enrolled, and I'm really, really glad I did. And with that, I'm also completely open to speaking with any prospective students here today. If you want to reach out to me individually, I'd be happy to speak to you one-on-one. And I really feel like having this MBA truly makes me stand out while I'm applying to roles, because many of the roles I'm seeking require a broad understanding of business strategy and finance, information and capital markets, marketing, engaging with stakeholders across the board. And I feel like I really have acquired lots of abilities that will help me succeed in getting to my career goals.
Wow, Steph, you just sold me on the value of my MBA. I chose PGS because I didn't really love the role that I was in, but knew that I did want to stay in the field of sustainability, but wanted to explore like different opportunities within that field and understand it more so from the business side of things. A key thing that stood out to me about PGS was definitely the social justice element of our curriculum. I wasn't really finding that in other sustainability related MBA programs. And when I think about the future for me and what might be next, I think PGS has really, it's really helped me understand how to make the business case for sustainability and about how to design an impactful ESG program that's really material to that company. And I've been able to explore a lot of my different interests, like reproductive justice, water issues here in California. And that was something that I really wanted because I didn't know what I wanted next. And now I have a bunch of really great work products that I'll be able to share with companies when I do graduate. And I think the other thing that I've been reflecting on recently is how much PGS has really empowered me as a consumer. I know so much more about ESG strategy and how to like engage in our economy in a way that aligns with my values. And I'm also surrounded by people that are really interested in exploring that as well. So I feel like PGS has really empowered me both professionally and personally to live the life to create the future that I want to.
I love that so much. I love how we all have these different paths that lead us to PGS, but at the end of the day, it's all rooted in the same values. I think that just really speaks to how much of a values-driven school this is. So thank you all for sharing that. And I'm going to ask some more pointed questions to specific panelists now. So starting with you, Dimitri. As you mentioned, you are the program manager for the consultancy shadowing program at PGS, which I actually just took, and I can vet that you did a fantastic job. Can you please explain how the program works and the benefits that it offers to students in terms of hands-on learning, professional development, and networking opportunities? And can you speak to your personal experience with the program and how it's influenced your own learning and career goals?
Yeah, thanks, Kelly. And of course, thank you for being an advocate for the program. I believe also, I think Steph had gone through it earlier at some point as well. So happy to have some people that have been through the experience as well. The program actually was really exciting when I first took it on. It started when I first enrolled at Presidio about a few weeks after. So I enrolled in Presidio in summer 2021, got hired by PGS Consult shortly after, and then was basically handed over the program, which was like in a beta or pilot stage. So being able to develop it these last 2 years has been really exciting for me. I've been able to wear multiple hats throughout the process as someone that's, an engager, collaborator, speaking to different groups, whether it's consultants and students. So long story short is that the students basically apply for the program by a specified date when we select a cohort of 10, and they're given access to go through a self-paced course on the Canvas, which for those that may not be familiar is a program we use, like a course learning management tool to look at our courses, our assignments that are due, speaking with instructors, etc. So they're given access to that, and they have access to that throughout the whole semester. And in that, they're learning the fundamentals of like sustainability management consulting. We start off with doing like an orientation, a call similar to this, where I speak to all of them and give them basically like a run through of all the components of the program, documents, the scope of it. We also provide a tracking sheet so others can see the progress everyone is making in real time and kind of like encourage and push each other forward to get through the process. And they're also able to attend like actual internal project meetings with real life consultants, which I think is a very fundamental piece of the program that I haven't seen any actually offer from other schools, to be honest. And I think it's great that we've been able to give that, I would say, experience to students while they're in graduate school. And the best part of that is that we've had students that have gone through the program that, through putting their best foot forward and effort, they've been able to actually come on board to actually do actual consulting projects with like PGS consults, for example. And so I think it's a great building exercise for students that are curious about the field itself to get more familiar and understand the ins and outs of it, as well as how to navigate, pitching a proposal, how to create a presentation, understanding things such as a materiality assessment or life cycle assessment. And so I think the gratifying thing for me has been able to see how this has grown and become more efficient. And there's been tremendous, I would say, positive feedback with this, where, as far as I know, the program has been full to capacity the last year, which I think is a good testament to what students are getting out of that. So I'm happy that students feel that they get a benefit from that, even if they're not going to necessarily go into consulting themselves. They can truly apply those tools and that experience, what they're learning, and also connections that they're making to take whatever career path they may want to go on after Presidio.
I love it. Yeah, like I said, I just finished the program and it was so valuable. So thank you so much, Dimitri, for everything that you've done this past semester. And now I'm going to pivot over onto Steph. Speaking of consulting, Steph, prior to coming to Presidio, you worked as a scenic artist. You were painting sets for TV. And since being at Presidio, you've successfully transitioned into a career in sustainability as a consultant and now as a data manager for an impact investing firm focused on circular economy. So many prospective students might be worried about not having a background in sustainability. And I think that your journey can really inspire them. So can you please share more about your transition into sustainability and how attending PGS has supported this journey?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I have had a weird path, which at first was really scary. I had no idea how to transition out of working in film and having a degree in film and really having my career life set out in that pathway so securely. but then having this desire to change it and flip the script, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. So thank goodness I did find my way to Presidio and chose to come here. But still, likewise, when I came here, I felt like a huge fish out of water. I felt a little bit behind in the game. You know, there's a lot of folks with background in sustainability, background in business, or just everything. And I was like, wow, everyone's really impressive. Where do I fit in? And while it took a while, I was just dedicated to the process. And there were a few key ingredients along the way that really helped me feel like I was completely in the right place. And that starts with the network of students. The support is fantastic. And everyone comes from so many different backgrounds. No one is, coming in really with a leg up. Everyone's really coming in to learn just as much as the next person. So that was really encouraging. And then the professors are really great at speaking to everyone's level of where you're at, whether you haven't looked at Excel since you were a teenager in school, or if you've ever looked at it, or if you've ever written a report or never written a report, they address us all very equally. And then the career services folks, Trish Kenlin and Shannon Hode, and a couple other fellow students, were really crucial in teaching me all of the transferable skills that I did have. I learned how to leverage those skills that I gained from my previous career to be a better student and a better professional. And honestly, I'm really glad now that I have a unique background, because it has very specifically made me stand out to recruiters and hiring teams. I'm completely an advocate for the odd pathway. You do not have to have any specific background to get this MBA or MPA. I really feel like it was one of the main, maybe not a main reason, but one of the more memorable reasons why I did get my first internship with a sustainable consulting firm. And that internship helped me learn a lot. The on-the-job training is super essential. And, throughout the whole process, you find your voice, you learn a lot and build a lot of skills really quickly. And I found my voice in my path, and I'm really glad I did.
I'm also very glad you did. And I totally resonate with all of that. I also did not come from a sustainability background, and Steph actually helped me get an internship this summer with the same sustainability consulting firm that she did her internship with. So network, yay. All right, pivoting over to Megan, can you speak on your decision to pursue the dual degree program at Presidio and what you hope to gain from this experience? So specifically, how do you see the combination of your 2-degree program supporting your career goals, and what unique skills and perspectives do you feel you're gaining from this dual degree approach?
Sorry, my dog decided to bark right at this moment. He's really good at that. His timing is great. So yeah, I actually started as an MBA student, but once I started, I had a lot of, I was sort of interested in the dual program. So I talked with a lot of duals, and then even took a couple of MPA classes as electives at the time. And then I decided to make the switch. And so I think part of the reason was, after starting the MBA program, I realized that I don't really see myself at a big corporation, and more likely see myself working at a nonprofit like I have been, or working with small businesses. And I felt like the MPA classes helped set me up better for that type of work. So while the MBA classes have really provided me with invaluable tools when it comes to marketing and finance and operations, the MPA classes have helped me understand how to use those tools for having a social impact. Sort of added this layer in depth to my education with a focus on people. And I do feel like I imagine it will open the door for different career options, which works well for someone who doesn't always pursue a linear path. So I know that I can, that I just have lots of options, and that regardless of what sector I work in, I can pull knowledge from both my MBA and MPA degrees and bring like a unique and balanced skill set to whatever organization I work at. And I thought it could be, I want to just like highlight a couple of the classes that, the MPA classes that were most exciting to me. There was civic leadership, which is really focused on community engagement and understanding the role of power and privilege. We did these different experiential learning activities to really understand how to work towards system-wide transformations. And then a planning and policy class. Policy is such a big leverage for change and something that often came up in a lot of the MBA classes. And so now I feel like I have an understanding of how to use policy as a leverage for change. And then the last class that I just want to highlight is multi-sector strategic partnerships, which is a class that I feel like it should be an MBA one because required for both degrees because it really teaches you how to work across sectors to tackle some of our toughest problems. And I'm happy to answer any questions after this call if people are interested in learning more about the dual program.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Also, I will second that for multi-sector strategic partnerships. Megan and I just finished that class together and it was really, really cool. And I think so valuable because so much of this work that happens in sustainability really happens at the intersection of the private and public sectors. So incredibly valuable. And finally, Genevieve, as you mentioned, you are the co-manager of the Outdoors Club, and we so appreciate all of the wonderful, fun things that you plan for us. So you're involved in one of the many extracurricular opportunities at Presidio. And can you please speak to the range of extracurricular activities that are available at PGS and how these activities contribute to the overall experience of attending the school?
Definitely. Yeah, I think we have a range of different things. There are ways to engage with the community, some of which are more formal, like clubs, or I guess like student government, which is being a student rep, or like these more formal planning committees. But PGSers are also really good at just taking advantage of residency weekend and that shared time that we have together and building in things that are more casual, like dinner, going out to bars, and like Thursday sports and things like that. In terms of like more formal opportunities, I think basically any student can start a club and you can also sort of inherit one, which I did. Outdoors Club has existed far before me. And I think that they're really valuable because they let you get to know a lot of different people in the program, regardless of whether or not they're in your cohort or in your classes. It's a different way to share and develop like your own hobbies and interests, and also meet people that want to engage on those same topics. And I think during residency weekend, that time together is so valuable. It's really great to just like decompress and also just socialize outside of the classroom. And, you know, I think for Outdoors Club, like the hiking and getting outside is really helpful. And I can't wait to see what all of the clubs do now that we will be basically having like slumber parties for the weekend for those of us that come to residencies in person, and just seeing how we can take advantage of some of the different like resources and new location once we're at Redlands.
I'm also extremely excited for that. I've been looking at all of the cool hikes that are around the area where we'll be, so I'm looking forward to more hikes after residency classes. Also, just another plug for the Outdoors Club. They always plan a very fun camping trip before the start of the semester. So definitely has been a huge highlight. Pardon?
And a winter trip.
And a winter trip. So definitely has been a huge highlight of my experience at Presidio. And so zooming back out to all of you guys again, can you speak to the importance of community at Presidio and how it has impacted your overall graduate school experience?
I can start us off. The community is the bread and butter of this school, honestly, or I don't know, the cherry on top, whatever sort of wonderful food metaphor you want to think of, the community is amazing. They teach me just as much as I could learn in class. You know, they're a breath of knowledge. I learned so much from everyone. they are also incredibly inspiring because they are walking the talk. You are surrounded by folks who are walking the talk in different ways and supporting each other. And we understand that no matter which way you're walking the talk, we are all connected in that walk. So it's really wonderful. This is a very unique place to learn. There's a lot of creativity and passion, and it sparks a beautiful amount of collaboration where we take on real challenges that the world faces. And how has it impacted my overall graduate experience? It's just enhanced it. I don't think I would have been happy anywhere else but here. It's just a really wonderful community. And it's so good to see all your faces. So I really thank you all for being amazing.
Yeah, I'll add to that. And I'll second everything Steph just said as well. I mean, everyone in this community just truly means well and wants what's best for everyone. And, aside from learning these incredible things from our amazing instructors and admin and career service and everyone involved in the community, also a lot of learning, especially for me, has been with my peers. It's like everyone on this call, everyone in my classes, working alongside so much, that's where I feel the real magic happens. And I'm learning while I'm doing. And it's just been so incredible how supportive everyone is and how authentic that is. And I don't know if I would have gotten that in another program. I do feel like I'm spoiled in this way by being part of this since day one. And I love that I can definitely see that this is going to continue on in the fall and ongoing. And I'm just so grateful that everyone's been able to reach out and support each other when we need it and be able to listen to each other and be able to collaborate together on things that are so meaningful. I mean, you can really tell and hear people's passions when they work on projects about things that mean so close and dear to their heart, myself included. And I'm just learning all these amazing things in real time that I would not have even known about, I think, in another avenue. And also just having your views and your knowledge expanded in so many ways. I think it's been just one of the most gratifying experiences, and I'm so happy I made that decision.
Wow. You guys have both touched on this piece, but something that really stands out to me about the Presidio community is the vibe, I think, of collaboration rather than competitiveness. I know for me, like, there are people in our class that I'm always exchanging papers with and always reviewing decks. And I would so much rather be in the classroom where we are all workshopping our ideas so that our arguments and cases are like the strongest and best that they could be, rather than like who has the best idea. I love this mentality. It's definitely improved and expanded like my learning experience here at Presidio. But when I also think about how we're going to combat climate change and some of these broader social issues, it is through this very collaborative nature, like across sectors and industries and also countries. So I'm really glad that this is the mindset of so many PGS students, and that this is going to be my mindset when I re-enter the workforce.
Yeah, you all touched on it so well. I think support and collaboration are really at the heart of PGS community. And yeah, it is quite a special place. And I have to say, so Steph and I both started during the pandemic. So our first semester was totally virtual. And that's how some students go through the program, totally virtual. And even then, the community is very strong. Even if you can't see people in person. That being said, residencies are so much fun. They really fill my cup to be able to have a lot of those casual interactions with students that you might not be in class with. The conversations that happen during a residency are just, they run the gamut, but it's so exciting to just hear what people are interested in, what they're studying about, where they're working. There's so much to learn from fellow classmates. And I feel like I have a ton of lifelong friends that I've developed over the past 2.5 years. And I think those relationships are just as important to my future and my well-being as the education that I've received. Yeah, so much appreciation for the community.
I will +1 all of that. The community is such an incredibly special part of the Presidio experience. So, and I talk about it all the time if you've ever had a one-on-one with me, because I'm just obsessed with all of you. Moving to our next question, can you share an example of a sustainability challenge that you have worked on at PGS and how you tackled it?
I can kick us off. All right, so something that I worked on, some challenge. It makes me think of a project that I worked on in strategy for sustainability, which is taught by the super amazing Martina Dolashal. So my team worked with we get to work with real companies, and my team worked with a company that is a hemp fiber company that seeks to incorporate hemp fiber additives into products like plastic and concrete. So we were addressing the sustainability challenge of the unsustainable supply chain of manufacturing and how tight it is, how one track it is, how almost monopolistic it is. And we really want to figure out how to disrupt it by helping this company integrate and replace a lot of unsustainable parts of that supply chain and put in this hemp fiber chemical, which is really cool. And so we took a lot of research and data, lots of interviews and surveys from just so many different sectors. We'd need a long time to talk about all of it. And we built a roadmap for this company to expand and succeed in disrupting these unsustainable supply chains. And it was super great to be a part of.
I can share my systems project. So I think most first semester students take systems thinking at PGS. Sorry, that's not the full class. Systems, sustainability, and social justice, which really focuses on SSSJ, really focuses on systems thinking, which is a really holistic framework to apply to basically any problem where you're really outlining like the key relationships and variables to understand the system more broadly and identify potential solutions. My group looked at water access and quality for Central Valley residents here in California. And I really loved this project because I think water is a really pressing issue here in California. And we were able to really map out these 3 different pieces of infrastructure, the agriculture industry, and climate change, and how all of those were really compounding to create this problem. And we were able to identify like real areas, I think, of for leverage or for intervention to create real solutions. And I think systems, that class more broadly, is really great, and it's a real pillar of the PGS sort of like platform and framework here because of systems thinking and understanding how to apply that to different problems. And I've certainly relied on it in other classes as well.
I'm happy to jump in. For civic leadership, diversity, and systems thinking, which was one of the MPA courses, I did a group project looking at disaster preparedness in Los Angeles through the lens of community resilience. And so we started our research really doing an in-depth power analysis of the formal, hidden, and invisible powers throughout the city. And from that, we were able to understand sort of the system as a whole, and were able to identify different recommendations for building community resilience. And so we looked at sort of 2 main recommendations, both the idea of facilitating the growth of social capital, the idea that the most important part of preparing for disaster is actually just knowing your neighbors. So how do you help people get to know their neighbors? Like building resilience hubs to act as community centers, the value of community events or shared gear storage in the middle of a neighborhood. And then the other angle we took for recommendation was cultivating community sovereignty through decentralization. So building small with microgrids and urban agriculture and community energy storage to help build that resilience within communities.
I think one that definitely comes to mind for me is also like from strategy class. So we have what's called the ELs, so experiential learning, where we get a chance to work like with a real world client. And I think for me and my team, we were actually very fortunate that we helped create a strategy for a rebrand for which was primarily an oil and gas company, but they really wanted to transition and say, how can we, become focused on renewable energy? How can we walk the walk and not just talk? We hear terms like greenwashing, now green hushing. So they really wanted to be transparent and authentic in how they could make this transition in a way that was financially feasible, but also spoke to values that really concerned a lot of stakeholders. And so our client was based in the Northeast. And so our team, we looked at it from different lenses and how this affects different stakeholder groups, from geographic location to income levels to social dynamics, lived experiences, and how can they, enter the market with this renewable technology, whether it's solar, wind, heat pumps, what may have you, in a way that is scalable, but also makes sense for them in a way that's feasible and could help them, increase their business operations, but also at the same time speaking true to their values internally. So we really learned about how to create values alignment inside and how that can be reflected externally to their customer base. And that was really exciting for me and my team because we definitely were looking at different hats and different ways to tackle this. I think when it comes to sustainability challenges, a key thing is definitely looking at it from different angles, which kind of reinforces what we learn in systems thinking and looking at lever points and how one thing could affect another, action and reaction. So it was very exciting to see how that all comes together and play out and our recommendations. And they were happy to say they were very happy with what we suggested for that for their year over year. And they were, yeah, very excited to run with that. So that was something that definitely stood out to me for me and my team.
So amazing. I love hearing all of the creative and innovative solutions that people come up with in the program. So last question before we turn it over to audience Q&A. So audience, if you have any questions, get them ready. You can start populating them in the Q&A chat now if you would like. What is your favorite thing about PGS? And what advice would you give to prospective students who are interested in pursuing a degree at Presidio?
I'll go first. My favorite thing about PGS is hands down the community. Like absolutely the best people to learn alongside. And yeah, nothing really reminds you like that of the value of dance off, which I'll let everyone else speak to, but like, wow, PGS rocks. And my advice to prospective students, if you're interested in PGS, that means that you should probably come. And I also just encourage you to have conversations, I guess, with admissions about some of like the flexibility and different options at PGS. We offer MBAs and MPAs, but we also have certificate programs. So if you don't feel ready to commit to like a full-on MBA right now, start with a certificate. And it's so easy for people to oscillate between programs too. Like I have a friend that started as an MBA, ended up deciding she just wanted a certificate. That's all she could do. I have a friend that started as a certificate. She transferred and is now getting her like full MBA. And it's really easy to also switch between part-time and full-time status. So I just think, remember how flexible this program can be and choose the best option for you, but know that you will also have the ability to change your mind throughout your path.
Go ahead, Steph.
We're playing chicken. I will echo that. The flexibility has been one of the key factors in making this program possible for me. I was one of the students who actually started as a certificate student. And I think actually before I officially started classes, I decided I wanted an MBA, but I initially did sign up as a certificate student. And the flexibility has been wonderful. I decided to become a teaching assistant like right away. And so that kind of took up one of my slots for me taking a course as a student. And in which case I've always taken 3 classes each semester. And with the program that I chose, I ended up doing a 2.5-year program, which just worked out great for me. So that's something that I really loved. The community as well. The network of alumni is super strong. We all have such a powerful drive to make this world function better and be more resilient. And it's just really nice. Basically, it's just like really nice to know that there's people out there who think in this fashion of wanting to make the world better and actually figuring out real ways of doing it. So that's definitely my favorite part. Or I guess I had like 3 to 5 favorite parts. And I have more. And my advice truly is, if you're here right now, pursue this school. You really will not regret it. There is no other MBA program that incorporates sustainability into every single course and every action that this school takes. It's also a huge drive for companies right now to incorporate sustainability, and it's a huge drive in the public field as well. Regulations and policies are really incorporating sustainable initiatives. So you're going to be poised for your career moves in a really strong way. Yeah, so my other advice is reach out, talk to us. We are more than happy to keep chatting with you.
I think one of my favorite things has been how I've been challenged to really identify and explore interests, and the opportunity that I've had to do that through various group and independent projects throughout the past 2.5 years. And then also being able to share my passions with fellow students to help deepen my learning. It's really exciting when something that you're passionate about, you tell someone about it, and then they start working on a project that's aligned with it, and you have this I don't know, I feel like I have some friends that are interested in similar niche things as me, and that's just really exciting to have community in that way. And if you are interested in pursuing a degree at PGS, I would definitely say talk to people. I recommend doing what I did and go onto our LinkedIn alumni network and search for keywords of industries that you want to get into. I literally went in and searched co-op because I was really interested in employee ownership, and that's how I was able to have conversations with people that were doing work that I wanted to be doing. So recommend doing that. And if you come to PGS, definitely find ways to get involved with the community.
Yeah, I second everything that's been said. I think what just really stood out to me is definitely the level of respect and integrity that is there, shared across everyone, between everyone and everything, as well as knowing that, you are, no matter what, you are always seen as equal to each other, to everyone else. And I think that's really great, especially for those, let's say, that may be reluctant or not sure, but everyone on this call, obviously this has gone through your mind. So I definitely would suggest, don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone. I think on the outside of that is tremendous growth. And I myself have looked at opportunities where I'm like, I think it's worth it for me to step out of what I know, what may be familiar, because on the other side of that, I'm going to feel a lot more confident. I'm going to feel a lot more well-rounded and whatnot. And the experiences I've had at Presidio have given me that opportunity. And I would say 100,000 times it is entirely worth it. Don't let the fear of staying stuck keep you from pushing forward and expanding what you may know already, because you might surprise yourself on the other end of that and think, wow, I'm so happy I did that. And I know this is going to pay off so well. So, and as you guys can all tell here, there's definitely much respect, compassion with each other, which again, I don't think I've seen or heard of from other similar programs. So this is definitely a special place, I would say.
Amazing. Thank you all so much. I love hearing these answers. And if anyone from the audience has any questions to ask, now is your time. So you can go ahead and use either like the little raise hand function, or you can use the Q&A function. Or if you can't find the Q&A function, because sometimes Zoom is hard, panelists, now would be the time. And while we wait for some questions, I will add that another one of my favorite things about Presidio is our super cool merch. So this is my sweatshirt that I probably should wash at this point. Our merch comes from actually one of our students who created a sustainable fashion brand And so all of our PGS merch is made from upcycled textile waste, which I think is just so on brand for Presidio. And I love it so much because I'm obsessed with this school. So I'm always repping the logo and it's so cozy. Yeah, and then Steph and Meg are dropping the links to her company. Is it Newbie,
right?
It's
I know.
always hard for me to know how to
always
pronounce
say
it.
Say it wrong.
Newbie. Their Instagram tells you how to pronounce it in a great video.
I love that.
It's so smart.
All right. Hello. I don't see any questions coming through. Is there anything else that anyone would like to share for our last 5 minutes?
We can share out our emails if that's all right. And wherever this gets posted, I confirm that you can share my email wherever this goes on the website.
Wonderful. I think that's great. Yeah, emails or LinkedIn's. I'll also pop mine in. So yeah, I will just reiterate that when I was a prospective student, I talked to so many people, and the Presidio community is so open, and the people are always so kind and supportive and willing to meet with you and chat with you and provide their connections and advice. And so if you do, if you are seriously considering going to Presidio, never hesitate to reach out to anyone in our community. It's probably the nicest group of people that I've ever met in my entire life.
We just got a question in, actually.
Oh, we did. Ooh, Q&A. All right. What kind of networking opportunities does Presidio Graduate School offer? And have you been able to connect with professionals in your field of interest through the school's network?
I'm happy to jump in with that. I think, for example, as I mentioned, I'm in Minneapolis right now, and that was through networking, which I did about a few months ago with an alumni from Presidio. And so what I've noticed is, everyone is very responsive. I think, I made LinkedIn my best friend with connecting with alumni. Even before I came to Presidio, I reached out because I just really wanted to know so much about this program and what set this school apart. And I mean, even while in graduate school, being able to connect with those that maybe they don't have all the answers, but they can put you in someone who does, or what you're looking for. So there's definitely that wide, I would say, net of people to reach out to and connect with. And as I mentioned, everyone's very receptive and very eager to talk. At the end of the day, we all want to, make the world better. So when it comes to talking about sustainability, I think, I know I am very much, I can't shut up about that. I'm always happy to talk about that all day. And people I've met have been very similar in that way. So everyone's very open to chatting and getting to know each other better.
Yeah, I would just add to that, and I do want to speak on behalf of, I know some of the things that are in the works for our post-merger life. I think a lot of professors at PGS are really great at bringing in guest speakers. Often, many of them are PGS alum, which is a really great way to connect and learn. People are very friendly. And we often invite alum to a lot of our residency weekend events. So we host intermission, which is essentially wine and food after class every weekend, or that one weekend a month. Our alumni are invited. As Steph just noted, clubs can have alum attend as well. And I do know that once we have this campus presence, everyone is really excited about expanding the opportunities to host more in-person events with the alum there as well. So I know that that's definitely in the works for Res 1 in the fall. And I think we have more virtual events with alum too, if you're not able to come in person, but I normally am. So I think someone else can probably speak to that better than I can.
I'll also say, The networking can happen very organically. It can also happen very intentionally. So for instance, I found the current job that I have right now was kind of a long process of kind of getting in the door, because they're a very busy company. And so I talked to them for a long time. And the way that I kind of got their ear was through our school president. I saw that she was a common LinkedIn connection. And I was like, hey, El Presidente, can you introduce me? And she was like, of course. I mean, so the network isn't even just the students, the professors and the administration super have your back. And that connection in and itself, just getting in the door is such a huge part of finding your career path. So I can say wholeheartedly, I know that the network is very strong. So yeah, it's been great for me and great for a lot of folks here too.
Yeah, I actually want to just add on that I was looking for summer internships, specifically in the sustainability consulting space. And it was kind of mind blowing that pretty much every interview that I had was with a senior sustainability manager, CSO, whatever have you, and they were all from Presidio. And during those interviews, they were like, oh, I see you went to Presidio. I kind of have a bias towards Presidians because we have a really amazing reputation in the sustainability world. So sometimes that networking happens when you don't even expect it to. You'll just apply for a sustainability job, and I would say like at least half the time you'll probably be interviewed by a Presidian. At least that was my experience. Wonderful. That was a great question, by the way. And I know we're at time, so I want to honor that and allow everyone to get on with their Wednesday night. But I want to say thank you so much to our amazing panelists. I love you all so much. And it was just really fun to see all your faces because school just ended like a week ago and I'm having Presidio withdrawals already. And thank you to all of the people who attended. Hopefully you've taken down our emails. Please feel free to reach out whenever. And thank you so much for sharing your evening with us. And yeah, can't say this enough. Please never hesitate to reach out. Thank you all so much for coming.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
Beautiful. I don't know how this webinar works. So I just